Welcome once again, guys. So just make sure your pattern paper is higher than 10 inches before you start. Mine is even 10 inches on the dot. So the next thing I will do will be to mark half inch for our sewing allowance, and that half inch will be responsible for the excesses I will use in joining the sleeve to the body of the cloth. So I'll make a broken line on those half inches mark, and I'll start my other vertical lines from that line. The first is the sleeve cap, but before then I will divide that into two, come forward by 3/4 inch, and that will be where our curve will begin from. Then for the sleeve cap I will mark 5.5 inches from that broken line. I'll do that on two different positions and I will join with a straight line. For the round arm, that is your elbow, I'll mark 8 inches on two different positions, and I'll also do that by joining with a ruler, and that is the round arm. Now for the end of the sleeve, I would also mark 15.5, which is the sleeve length, and I'll be joining with a broken line as well. But I'll be adding sewing allowance to that, and that would be half inch, because there will be another piece I'll be using for the folding, and that will be what will actually make our V shape possible. So now to go to our curve, after drawing all these vertical lines, I will check if my sleeve cap will be able to contain the 23.5 inches, and I see it is possible. So I'll make a curve like that to the end of the sleeve cap. Your sleeve cap is just to contain the curve of your armhole. So I marked my round arm measurement, and I also added sewing allowance. I do that for the end, but for the end part I've already added the sewing allowance, and I'll be joining to that point like that. Now I'll take my armhole measurement of my sleeve cap, and wherever it ends I'll mark, and I'll also join to the round arm measurement. After doing this, I'll be using my marker to make those broken lines clear enough. Then I'll go straight to the cutting process. After cutting, I will use this pattern paper to cut out my fabric, and I'll start the sewing process. The armhole of the front part of the sleeve is always smaller than the armhole of the back part of the sleeve. So we'll be reducing the armhole of the front part of the sleeve, and that will be done on the center point. So I'll come forward by ½ inch on the center point, and I'll be making a curve from the top to pass through that ½ inch mark. But that curve will eventually meet the measurements of the downline in the same position. And remember, like I said, this curve is only applicable for the front armhole of the sleeve, because you don't want lagging on that part, you don't want folding. So I'll go straight to the labeling. So that back curve will be for the back of the armhole, and the other curve will be for the front of the armhole. The next line is your sleeve cap, and that is responsible for the whole armhole measurement, the sleeve cap. The next line is the round arm. We mostly call it our elbow measurement, and that is for your round arm. This other line is also for your round arm. That will be the part that will contain our V shape. Next on the menu will be to use this paper to cut out the sleeve on the fabric, and I'll be showing you the difference in the armhole of the front and the back sleeve. The armhole of the front sleeve should always be smaller than that of the back, because you don't want laggings on the front. The front is where it actually shows the beauty of your clothes. So you can also see it is distinctive, which means you can't use the right sleeve for the left anymore, and you can't also use the left for the right anymore. So I'll be showing you the piece I'll use in turning our V shape. So that piece size will be determined by how big you want your V shape to be. If you want your V shape to be bigger, you will make that piece also bigger. For our V shape, it is pretty straightforward. The V shape is just a 2 by 1 inch mark. So I'll be marking 2 inches on that side like that, and I will also be marking 1 inch on the other side. After doing that, I'll join both lines, both points with a straight line. So I'll be marking 1 inch on this part like this. And I'm doing that with a pencil. When you're working with a white piece, you always make sure your marker should be a pencil and nothing else. And I'll be joining with a straight line. I'll be making use of my scissors to cut out that line. And after doing that, you see my V shape is already visible. And I'll be using that piece, that turning piece, to actually turn out this V shape. So this is the V shape. And your turning piece must be wider than the V shape. So there's no way you are using a piece that is not wider than the V shape. So the length of the V shape would be the same size, but the height, your turning piece must be wider than it. So I'll be going straight to the sewing machine and I'll be sewing on the edge of this V shape. And I'll be showing you all the tricks you need to know when you are making sewings on cuts like this. And that's tricks, and those tricks are just to bring out the sharp edges on each side. And I'll be showing you what to do. So I'll make a half-inch stitch all through like that, and I'll be showing you while working on my sewing machine.
After pressing and sewing the downline of the folding piece, you can see what we got, and that is now where we actually stopped. After sewing the downline, we also folded that sewing edge by a 1/4 inch inwards and so you can see I folded that edge by a 1/4 inch and sew on the wrong face, so you could see that. So that is why you won't see any sewing line on the right face, and that is how we got that folding on the wrong face. And it is a form of design. If you don't want your stitching to show on the right face, you will just fold and sew. So there's only a line, but there's no sewing line on the right face. So that's that. I'll just go ahead, do my final pressing, and that will be all for the V-shaped 3/4 sleeve. Thanks for watching.